Good afternoon. This is the Memphis Landmarks Commission is hereby called to order for its regularly scheduled meeting of June 27th, 2024. My name is Brown Gill, and I'm the chair of the commission, stepping in right now for Chairwoman Tucker. Mr. Brett Ragsdale serves as the executive secretary of the commission. Mr. Ragsdale, may I get a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. You might say anything. Ms. Cox?
Here.
Ms. Strong?
Here.
Mr. Walker? Here. Mr. Winter?
Here.
Chair Gill?
Here.
We have a quorum.
The Memphis Landmarks Commission and the local historic district provisions are established to ensure preservation of structures that are of historic value to Memphis. Our function is to preserve significant resources, enhance community pride, and foster civic beauty, and ensure the compatibility within designated historic districts. The commission is authorized to review projects and determine their appropriateness based on the design review guidelines. At this time, I'd like to swear in the staff. You may remain seated. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. May I get a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Secretary, please provide us a secretary's report, if there is one, this month, and then explain the procedures for this meeting.
Thank you. I do not have a secretary's report, but I would like to just thank you for stepping in as chair today, and we appreciate that. The procedure for this meeting will be as follows. I will introduce each case as listed on the agenda. Copies of the agenda are found on the right podium. For each case, staff at the Division of Planning and Development will give a presentation. At the conclusion of the staff presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present his or her case. After the applicant's presentation, the commission will hear first from those speakers in support of the application, then from those speakers in opposition to the application, and the speakers will have 3 minutes each. And then finally, the applicant will have 3 minutes to provide rebuttal. These times do not include time for questions from and answers to members of the commission. The chair may provide additional time provided both sides are given an equal amount of additional time. All parties who wish to provide testimony to the commission will be sworn in by the chair. If a member of the audience wishes to provide testimony in support of or in opposition to a particular case on today's agenda, he or she will need to fill out a speaker's card for the record. Speaker's cards are available at the front podium. Once filled out, speaker's cards can be submitted to any DPD planner at the left podium. We do not need speaker's cards from the applicants since their names are already part of the record. After all parties have been heard, the commission will close the public hearing, make a motion, and then deliberate on the case. All motions by this commission will be made in the affirmative. The bylaws governing the commission require the affirmative vote of a majority of the attending members to approve an application. The commission may also vote to hold an application for a period of 1 month. Mr. Chair, I submit that all cases have been filed in proper order, all applicants have been notified of this hearing, and all notice requirements have been fulfilled.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this point, the commission will establish a consent agenda. To establish the consent agenda, the secretary will call out each eligible case. If any member of the audience or the commission objects to a case being placed on the consent agenda, he or she should do so by a show of hands when the secretary reads the case. Once the consent agenda is established, the commission will vote on all cases placed on the consent agenda as a whole and will not hold individual public hearings on each case. Mr. Secretary, which items on our agenda are eligible to be placed on consent?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I need 1 minute. I need to look at something real quick for one of the cases we have a friendly amendment for. Okay. The items for the consent agenda are item number 3, COA 2024-035, 1015 North Willette Street in the Valentine Evergreen Historic District. Item number 4, COA 2024-044, 1162 Forest Avenue in Speedway Terrace Historic District. Item number 5, COA 2024-057, 927 Seattle Street in the Roselle-Ansdale Historic District. Item number 6, COA 2024-058, 1160 Melrose Street in the Glenview Historic District. Item number 7, COA 2024-059, 576 North Claybrook Street in the Speedway Terrace Historic District. And with that one, we have a friendly amendment to add to condition number 10 a statement. So it currently reads, all porch columns shall be of appropriate material, such as painted wood or fiber cement. And we're going to add after that, and a minimum of 8 inches wide. And then it continues as no stained or treated wood timber shall be used. So that is the friendly amendment for that one. Item number 8, COA 2024-060, 1707 Veazey Avenue in the Roselle-Ansdale Historic District. Item number 9, COA 2024-062.
The applicant does not agree on the conditions for item number 9.
Item number 9?
So we will hear.
Okay. So item number 9 is not eligible for consent. Item number 10, COA 2024-063, 1131 Melrose Street in the Glenview Historic District. Item number 11 is a 1-month hold. Item number 12, we will hear, sorry. Item number 13, COA 2024-072, 1914 Poplar Avenue in the Evergreen Historic District. Item number 14, 2024-074, 960 Blythe Street in the Cooper Young Historic District. And that is with a friendly amendment to read, a maximum 6-foot tall wood privacy fence shall be installed on the side and rear property lines per the approved site plan. The side yard fence at the southern property line shall not extend past the front building wall. Gates to match in height and materials or other appropriate materials such as wrought iron may be installed to enclose the yard. And then the final is item number 16 is COA 2024-081, 1583 Kendale Avenue in the Glenview Historic District.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as established by the secretary?
Second.
I'd like to remind the commission that by voting on the consent agenda, he or she confirms that he or she has read the staff report and is in full agreement with the conditions. Mr. Secretary, may I get a roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Walker?
Approve.
Mr. Winter?
Yes.
Ms. Strong?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Chair Gill?
Yes.
Motion carries.
If you're here for any of those cases just listed on the consent agenda, you have been approved. You do not need to remain at the meeting, but are welcome to stay for the remainder of the cases. We're going to hear 2 cases. That's item 9 and item 12. So if you're not here for item 9 or item 12, you don't have to stay unless you're riveted by this meeting.
And actually, I do want to note, we have 2 cases that we do not believe the applicants are here. So they have no more holds. That's item number 1 and 2. So I'm going to read those. And if the applicants are not here, then they would be administratively withdrawn after this meeting. So maybe someone will be here. And if they show up by the end of the meeting, we can always reconsider that. So the first is item number 1, COA 2024-020, 1311 Faxon Avenue in the Speedway Terrace Historic District.
That item here, is that applicant here?
Okay. So we did not hear that case. And item number 2, COA 2024-025, 1757 Carr Avenue in the Central Gardens Historic District. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Again, those will be administratively withdrawn if they are not present at the meeting.
Okay.
So the first case to hear will be item number 9, COA 2024-062, 148 Clark Place in the Evergreen Historic District.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this point, I'd like to state that the minor COA applications as listed on the agenda have been reviewed and approved by the commission. The commission will now continue with the regular hearing for the major COA applications as listed on the regular agenda. So, Mr. Secretary, please call the first case, which I think you already did, which is item 9.
Yes, item number 9, COA 2024-062, 148 Clark Place.
Is the applicant present? Would you come up and to the podium and state your name and address?
Yes, sir. My name is Josh Wood. It's 148 Clark Place.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to review the staff report?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And do you agree or disagree with the conditions
There
in the
was
staff report?
3 contingencies. We agreed to one, and we wanted to, I guess, elaborate on 2 of those conditions.
That's fine. We're going to hear the staff report, so you can just sit down and then we'll call you back up and you can make your presentation at the staff
All
report.
right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Aisha Penzis with Division of Planning and Development. Item before you is COA 2024-062, located in 148 Clark Place in Evergreen Historic District. Subject property is a 2-story Italian villa-style house built in 1940s. And here is the current status of the property. View from Clark Place looking east. Here are the current conditions. The applicant installed a solid wood fence that enclosed the side and rear yard of the property that extend along the side property line to the Clark Place, to the sidewalk. The fences were built without the COA approval and a fence permit, resulting in a stop work order issued in April 24th of this year. Here's the current condition. As you can see, this is the front facade and front yard of the subject property, and the installed fence extends beyond the front facade of the structure towards the sidewalk. Here's another photo taken by the code enforcement. And here's the proposed site plan that the applicant provided, showing the structure here, the existing driveway, and the proposed front yard fence that extends beyond the front facade of the home to be 4 feet tall and extending to the sidewalk and the street. Based on the Evergreen design guidelines, front yard fences are not in keeping with the open park-like nature of the neighborhood, and they are not supported by the neighborhood. And for any unusual or compelling reasons, if there's a necessity for front yard fences, the neighborhood suggests that all fences to be open fencing, such as wrought iron transparent fences. The design guidelines also say appurtenances such as fences related to the buildings shall be visually compatible with the environment of the existing buildings and the neighborhood which they relate to. But this front yard fence is built of solid wood, and it's taller than 4 feet at its current height, so it does not meet the design guidelines requirements. So the staff recommends approval for site improvements in accordance with the district guidelines and recommend 3 conditions. 1, all fences that extend beyond the front wall of the structure shall be removed. 2, all side yard fences shall be a maximum 6 feet in height, and all rear yard fences shall be maximum 8 feet in height. And 3, any change or deviation from the approved COA shall be submitted to the Memphis Landmarks Commission for review and approval. So this concludes my staff presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Applicant, let's hear your presentation.
First off, thank you again for your time. We're learning as we go here, so we appreciate the support and the guidelines for what we're looking for here. For the front yard fence, it was removed once we got that notification. However, there was an existing front yard fence that extended about 8 feet from the beginning of the building towards the street that we tore down. As a result, we removed the front yard fence all the way to that point. We have a picture of the neighboring property, which is an apartment building. And this picture of our building as well is a small multifamily. So both of these next to each other are multifamily buildings. And they had an existing gate, iron gate, that was about 6 feet forward of our property. So if we remove that fence that comes off the property, their gate would be non-existent. Somebody could just walk simply around that gate. So we started a 4-foot fence about 6 feet from that building, and it angled up to cover their gate, so the gate was able to open. We have a couple pictures there. So initially, we had that fence going all the way to the street, which understandably, that's not in keeping with the historic district, so we removed that once we got notification from that. And the fence that runs from the property towards the back of the building between both multifamily buildings is currently 8 feet, and we would like to keep it that way. It's not visible from the street, and we do have a letter from the neighboring property owner that would like to keep that fence in place as well. The rear of the property does have the 8-foot fence, so we're good there. So really what we're talking about is the side of the building. We would like to keep that 8 feet if possible because it provides kind of a little bit more security and privacy for both tenants on each side of the building. And we've removed the front fence as much as humanly possible. If we do it any further, then again, the building next door with that automatic gate would be negated. He would have to, I guess, restructure his whole iron fence, and we have pictures to support that if you guys would like to see that. That's it. That's all I have.
Thank you. I assume there's no opposition present. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Yeah. I just have a quick question. This is a multifamily unit?
Yes, sir.
And there's the building we can also see next to it's multifamily?
Correct.
How many units are in this building?
There's 8 units in this building, and I believe the next door is 10. I think it's 10.
And the parking's in the rear?
Parking is in the rear on the driveway side, and there is no fence on that side because there's another adjacent multifamily building, so there's no need for a fence. So there is no fence on the side, the right side of this picture. There's no fence all the way to the very back of the building.
I have a clarifying question for staff. So the report only references this fence that's from the face of the building to the street, but I think the applicant referenced additional fences behind the building. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. But the neighborhood design guidelines support side yard and rear yard fencing.
Okay.
So the only recommendation that I made was for the side yard fences to be maximum 6 feet in height, and then rear yard fence to be maximum 8 feet in height.
Okay.
That's based on the previous cases that we reviewed and approved within Evergreen Historic District.
Okay.
That's why the height limitation was.
So I guess my question for the applicant is, what is it that you're at issue with based on the staff report?
So initially when they came out, if you look in that picture, that's not what is there currently, but that was what was there whenever they came out initially. So
Sure.
We learned, hey, we can't have this front yard fence. We need to take this down. And as we were taking it down, we discussed with the neighbor, and he was like, hey, if you take this fence all the way to the corner of your building, then my gate is not going to be functional anymore, because there was an existing old fence that was kind of sticking out about what the distance is now that we cut it. So it'd probably be about 6-7 feet maybe from the front of that building towards the street. And that's kind of where his gate attaches to and closes. So if we were to just remove that all the way, which we would probably have no problem doing, but with his gate kind of extending a little bit out, it would, like I said, negate his gate, and he would have to do something else from that point.
So your request is just to allow the gate, or the fence from the front of your property or the face of the building to the face of his gate?
Yeah, so if you look in that picture, I believe one of those pictures, we started it at 4 feet because we know that's the requirement for a 4 foot, and it angles up to, kind of cover his gate. And we'd like to keep the 8-foot section between the two buildings as it's a driveway for his, and both buildings, the windows kind of look at each other, so with having that gate kind of all the way to the side.
The fence between the buildings is too high also? Is that an issue?
It's currently at 8 feet, and we'd like to keep it that way.
That was my recommendation, to lower them to 6 feet, but ultimately the decision is the commission's. I mean, as staff, I wouldn't have any objections to have the side yard fences at 8 feet maximum.
Got it. Okay. Thank you all for the clarifications.
Okay, perfect.
for the purposes of discussion, I don't remember what that's supposed to say there.
Are we ready for a motion?
Yeah, let's have a motion for the purpose of discussion.
For the purposes of discussion, motion that we approve COA 2024-062, 148 Clark Place, Evergreen Historic District.
Second.
Thank you. You can sit down now. We're just gonna talk among ourselves. See what we're gonna
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. My feeling is, I understand the fence going to the gate, but then just lowering it 2 feet would seem to solve the problem.
Between the buildings? you
Between
mean?
right.
I guess, is there any issue to keep it at 8 feet?
Staff said that normally in the neighborhood, what they've recommended is the 4 to 6. And we saw that which is the last page of their design guidelines, the preference is
True.
when you do have fences that it is transparent. In this case, it's not. So it seems to be that past approvals and what the neighborhood has been comfortable with is the gradual, from the 4 to 6 to the 8. Because it's only,
So right now, he's got the gradual from 4, but it goes all the way up to 8 instead of stepping
right
up.
now it's 8. It's a full 8.
Well, the
It's not
photo
a
showed that
step
he did slope it from beyond the gate up to, but it goes all the way up to 8, not to 6. Right, I think that's maybe an issue.
up. Next staff.
I think, well, it's not this picture. I think the gate's here. Oh, thank you. Yeah, there it is. That part's there already.
Yeah, it's a full feet. No, it's a full 8.
Right.
And so,
Yeah, there you go.
And, we're trying to get them up here. We're just seeing these photos too, so we're not sure when some of this work was done, but it's definitely moving toward what we were recommending. We're still, I think, our preference would be to take the fence back to where the gate is at least, and not have it extend further, and then make sure that the beauty side, as it says in the UC, is facing outward so that you don't have the framing exposed. As Ms. Penza said, the 8 foot, we recommended that because the 6 foot, because that's the design guidelines. However, this is a situation that is multifamily and, different property owners, it's a different situation. But so it's up to the commission really to decide what the preference is on that, so.
Just another clarifying question. So in this picture that we're seeing, maybe this is a question for the applicant, is the fence that runs between the two buildings, is that 8 feet?
Yes, sir. So the fence is starting to the right. We did it from 4 feet because that was a requirement, and we went up to the line, and then it ran, down the side of the building.
Okay.
So and again, we're here to support whatever decision you make. We'd like to keep it in place because, we've already had it set up. You can't really see that if you zoom out from the street. It's really not visible, but we understand your guys' decision, and we support whatever you guys decide.
Thank you. So Natasha, you think that's an issue to keep it at 8?
I do agree if where the wrought iron or where the fencing is to take it back to that point. But also when we were thinking of the public right of way, it's not just driving cars, it's about pedestrian. And, you do see it pedestrian wise if you're walking. But I do think if you take it back to where the wrought iron is and you gradually slope it up from the 4 to 6, to the 8, it's either, to the, it's not that much.
So, yeah, I think I do too. So you're suggesting, okay, we move start at the fence, and then between the fence and the base of the building, slope it from 6 to 8? I meant
That's
the gate,
8.
I'm sorry. The
But
gate.
even if you slope it down to the 6, that's better. The 4 may be lower than what the wrought iron is.
Right.
But I think from
Me too.
8 to 6, the 6 is a better
Yeah.
view and may align with whatever height the wrought iron. Is there a
Right.
guess or estimate on what the height of that wrought iron is?
No, we don't know. That's
Yeah.
something we'll have to look at, but we could condition it.
I prefer to start it like the wrought iron and slope up to whatever.
Yeah, so the fence would, the height of the fence would start to match at the gate. So well, I guess we would say cut the fence back to start at the gate. The height of the fence where it meets the gate would match the height of the gate, and then slope gradually up to 8 feet.
Not the internal where it connects, but the actual wrought iron on the end that's adjacent to the wood fence. Slide the pin, yeah, the lowest point, up to where the metal
sure,
or the wrought iron
Yeah, yeah.
matches the fence, right? You don't want it, no, not the highest point. Where the
post.
The post, thank you, where the post is on the wrought iron. Start from there and then
Yeah.
it would,
Yeah, and I would suggest that the slopes goes from the fence post there to where it hits where it's parallel with the house or perpendicular to the house. That's where the cut should go. Roughly, yeah.
I'm comfortable with that. Who would like to make that motion?
Okay, I can give it a shot.
Okay.
All right, so I'll make a motion to add an amendment that the fence be cut back to start at the face of the gate. The height of the fence, when it starts at the gate, shall match the lowest part of the gate, and then it shall slope up to 8 feet when it meets the face of the house. Is that clear-ish?
Yep, we got it.
A second.
quick question, when you say the front of the house, do you mean the front wall of the structure?
Yes, that was my thought.
Okay.
And my thought there is that would make it more compatible with the
Right.
intent of the guidelines.
The front wall of the structure, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I guess my amendment would include that it would go up to 8 feet at that face of the house, the face of the structure.
Yep.
So does that mean we'd strike number two?
All right, I think we got it.
Or at least strike the first part of 2, all side yard fences shall be a maximum of 6 feet in height.
Yeah.
How good are you on that motion? Are you good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Can we get a roll call?
Yep. Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Strong?
Yes,
Mr. Winter?
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you. You're approved. Just get with planning and they can explain what just happened. All right, item number 12. Can we see the item? Can we see the applicant for COA 2024-065 at 1659 Southern Avenue? Is that applicant here? Nope.
I believe they're not here.
Okay. Do we want to defer this case for a month? Okay. Do we need to make a motion to do that or just say it can just be deferred? All right, we're good. I think that's our entire agenda, guys. Are there any additional announcements, Mr. Secretary?
We do have one item for new business, which is a little unusual, but we did have a case last month that was conditioned by the commission, and the applicant provided additional information as requested to rectify some of the issues with the 3 cases that were in Glenview, if you remember those. And so they're here to discuss those proposals that they've made and some of the improvements that they've already made. And so we have that as a new business item.
Can't wait.
Mr. Flynn, thank you.
We don't need to do it. We don't have to swear him in or anything because this is just, we do. Okay.
Yes, and just to clarify, so we can resolve this case today if the commission agrees to
Agrees.
some of the things, and so we'll be just like a new case, or like
Okay. So your name and address, please.
Chad Farnan, you said address?
Address.
46 Flicker Street.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Do we want to do y'all want a presentation by Aisha to see the three structures before the applicant speaks?
Well, specifically what the improvements or the adjustments were.
So do y'all want to jump right to him? Okay, do you want to talk? Go ahead, Aisha.
So as you remember, we had 3 cases last month that was approved, but one of the conditions was the applicant come up with a plan to bring the structures back to their approval or conditions originally was done last year. So the applicant came up with a plan. I believe there are 10 items that we listed for the applicant to correct about each house. There were multiple issues with all of these houses that were done, which didn't follow the COA approval. So the first one was a middle column was added in the front porch for all 3 properties. So the applicant's response is they removed the middle columns and they provided a picture showing that this fits. Porch columns did not appear to be 12 inches. They are in the process of fixing the wood columns to meet the 12-inch requirement. Foundation walls are not minimum 18 inches above grade for all 3 lots. This unfortunately cannot be fixed because all 3 houses are built. So they are requesting a brick knee wall or a brick skirt or wainscoting in lieu of the 18-inch foundation. I believe we also discussed some options to remediate that foundation height discrepancy, and we would be open to either a brick knee wall to be installed around the front porch to kind of obscure the view of the flat foundations. Also a wainscoting that comes up to the point of the windowsills made out of brick or other material that differentiates between the siding and the wainscoting. Brick pedestals of the porch columns did not appear to be 18 inches. Again, they are in the process of fixing that. Overhangs did not appear to be 18 inches. Unfortunately, that's also not fixable at this point because the structures are built. I don't know how to remediate that discrepancy as staff, but I guess we would be open to any suggestions from the commission as a condition to fix that issue. Windows that are originally approved for the front gables were missing for all 3 structures. The applicant states that they are in the process of fixing those windows. So they ordered, and there's a time for them to receive the windows and install those. Some other window openings were missing on 1601 Foster. Again, they're in the process of fixing it. Window openings for 2 of the structures did not appear to be 24 by 24. Applicant provided a picture showing a measurement of these windows, and they are, in fact, 24 inches by 24 inches, so that issue is resolved. Fences were not included in the previous COA approvals, and they request that they would like to keep those fences. So in my previous staff recommendations, I recommended all the fences should be following the design guidelines for Glenview Historic District. I don't remember the details of location and the height of the fences, but if the applicant is amenable to go back to the staff conditions related to the fences, I think that also can be resolved. I mean, as staff, we are not rejecting any kind of fencing. We just want to make sure that they are in line with the design guidelines. And same thing for the existing driveways. They are required to be extending at least 36 feet to provide parking based on the structures. So they recommend that pouring rest of the driveways instead of a full driveway, 2 strips for car tires. Again, we are amenable as long as the length of the driveway allows enough parking for the structures. So staff is amenable to almost all of the plans that were provided by the applicant.
And can I correct that last part too for number 10?
Sure.
We're just going to pour the whole driveway. It's just going to be just as easy, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, because I think there's only, out of the 10 items, there's only 3. There was 4, but taking off that number 10, there's only 3 items that we either can't fix or are requesting, for instance, the fence, to keep the fence. Everything else, though, I agree with completely. We should just take care of it, which we already are, so.
Are you an architect, or what's your connection to these
So
three?
I work for the ownership. I'm the head of new construction. And then I believe you guys were meeting with Martin Perry, who was our general contractor at the time.
Correct.
He was the one that was handling all of this. And I told Brett, I got involved a little late because I wasn't aware of the situation. I'm like, why aren't these getting passed? And so as soon as I became aware of the circumstances, I was like, I'm going to take this over. I don't think we need to have our GC dealing with this. So I was like, let's just build it per plan, right? So
Great.
should have been done the first time. I'll assure you, I'm probably the most frustrated person about this in the room. So we're trying to build it per plan.
We agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting involved.
Of course, yeah.
What do y'all have comments or questions? Go ahead.
My first comment is I still have a particular issue with items number 3 and 5. At the last time we met, our discussion was that we asked for a plan to have these issues addressed, and to ask us for a detail is not a plan. So I don't think that these are addressed.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. For number 3, I think we did. I think our architect sent you guys a skirt for the detail, right? If I recall, that was already approved by the staff. Do you have that? And number 5.
Number 5 is the overhangs don't appear to be 18 inches.
Yes, so I didn't have anything written down, but I do in my personal notes now. So the overhangs right now are at 15 inches, and I think 18 is the requirement. And so we have gutters on them. So is that any way of it? It's adds about 4 inches, so they're about 19 from view, if that makes sense. Because we can't add anything to the overhang, unfortunately. It's already done.
I think you could. I think you could extend those, yeah.
Okay. So you want an extension, or is gutters?
I think it's something we need to discuss.
Okay.
I'm just disagreeing with your assertion that a gutter adds to the overhang.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, so
Excuse me, is there a plan to build any more additional houses in this neighborhood?
From our company? Yes, we actually have one under construction already.
Has it gone through this process?
Yes, and I assure you, I double, triple, quadruple checked. There was an 18-inch foundation. And going forward, I promise you, I'm going to be over our general contractor very heavily in any landmark submission areas.
That wasn't item number 1 today, was it?
And the setbacks, is it in line with the existing house?
Say that again?
The setback, is it in line with the existing housing?
Yes,
on the
yes.
same-
Yeah, our setbacks, not a question.
Oh, okay, same contractor, I guess. Okay. The same contractor. It was recommended for rejection, or it was rejected, I guess. Okay, sorry, Aisha.
It's okay. This was one of the elevations that was proposed by the applicant in lieu of the expanded plan to bring back the structures back to original approval conditions. So you can see that the applicant last month proposed to have brick columns for the porch and then have these brick columns with concrete cap in lieu of the brick knee wall to address the foundation height.
So I guess a clarifying question is I'm a little unclear what the intent is. I mean, your note, did you write all this?
I did.
Okay, so your note says foundation walls, this unfortunately cannot be changed. I would like to request we add a brick knee wall or brick skirt or other agreed upon detail limited to 18 inches. But is this what you're suggesting?
This is one of the options, yeah. So that's that brick knee wall in the front, and then the skirt would be maybe 2 or 3 feet off of the bottom, kind of almost in line with the bottom of the window, maybe a little past it, to go around the building, wrap it, so it would kind of draw your eyes away from the lack of the 18-inch foundation.
So it would extend beyond the porch columns?
The skirt would, yes. This is just the detail of the knee wall.
I guess that's what I'm trying to understand.
Let's see, I could draw you, like, do you want to see like a drawing of what the skirt would look like?
Yeah, I'm confused. You're saying knee wall and skirt, and I'm confused where you're intending both of those or either of those to go.
Oh,
Because
gotcha.
this drawing only has brick between the columns, and so I'm trying to understand the other two, where those other two items go.
Okay, here, let me draw you a detail I can show you.
So it sounds like he's proposing brick wainscoting
Yes, there you
around
go.
the sides and the front of the house, just up to the bottom of the windows, and then the knee wall is at the porch, front of
Just
the
at the
porch.
porch.
And this is to give the illusion of a raised foundation.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Draw your eyes away from it, essentially.
You're proposing brick up to like the base of the windows? Am I understanding?
Essentially, yeah, it'd be
Versus
right around
the
base.
foundation? Well, there is no foundation because it's,
Mhm. I guess the question is.
versus sort of a lower height, which is what you normally see with the foundation. I'm just asking, how is it going to look with brick, which is going to be closer up to the height of the windows versus lower, where you normally see the height of a foundation? That's
a good question. Well, I think this is a picture of the house as it is. And part of the issue, because of the way it was poured on slab, is to get that illusion, if you did it only, there's not a lot of room to put any brick on there other than just going to the bottom of the windows. That's the problem because of the issue that was created by the contractor. So I totally agree with what you're saying. And that's to me a question is that brick detail that was described, is that enough of a visual? Does that accomplish the goal? I'm not sure.
I think if I may, when we discussed it as staff, one of the things that we were also concerned about, what we're trying to do is get the appearance that we're looking for. And that was one of the reasons that we originally had thought. And so now there's not the middle column, and you would just have a potential brick knee wall straight across there. So, one of the things that's telling is the door. When you see the door on the slab, well, that would cover the door. And, the wainscoting, you could do it, but that almost gives you the opposite of appearance. So that was our thought originally as something to consider.
Just the knee wall and not the wainscoting?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And the walkway then would have to be from the drive because you would do it all the way across, and it would really just hide the main tell, which is the door, in our opinion. So.
So the walkway up to the front door that's in the yard will be removed,
Well,
proposed to be removed.
but what if you,
Well,
what if
the
you,
walkway, yes.
what if you, so you have the brick, what if you extended sort of the brick, sort of like as your, the pathway up into the door, like using 2 rows of brick to hide the walkway as you, and it would tie into sort of your brick columns, like, you could just 2 rows, 2 or 3 rows, and it would make it as if it's sort of, it would hide that or disguise it.
Are you suggesting like a wall in the yard kind of?
Yeah, like, 2 or 3 rows of the same color brick, starting from where the driveway, not the driveway, but the pathway from the driveway, and will lead all the way up to the L, going up to that brick column. And you could sort of do it inner and outer. And then that would sort of give you a planting bed, quote unquote, around the brick, but the brick would sort of hide how flat this is. To me, I would try to fix it more from a landscaping perspective than trying to stick something on the house.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting
That's
idea.
my opinion.
Because I like, Natasha, what you're saying is, I would advocate for carrying that brick wall all the way across the front of the house to include the window as well, and then return it to the face of the house. That way, the entire facade, the entire face of the house has that brick look instead of just one part of it. That's the downside. They create a big bed.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
How much space is that?
How much space is between
From
them?
the front of that, the window, the walkway all the way back to where the walkway starts to the door.
From the walkway to the door?
Right.
Let me see, it might be in the plan right here. I'm guessing about 5 to 6 feet. Let's see.
Yes, it'd be
8 feet, sorry.
Okay, I was gonna say that should be deeper. It should be the depth of the patio plus the depth of the flower bed plus the width of the sidewalk.
Oh, actually, no, it is, let's see, the porch slab is 5 feet plus the, about 8 to 9 feet.
I don't think either of these are perfect.
Oh, okay. It is.
Any other questions or comments? You got an idea which way you want to go, Commissioner Winter?
No. I don't. I'm interested. I mean, if anybody has a strong preference, I don't think I have a strong preference.
I don't have a strong preference.
And I guess my question is are we okay with this compromise? That's my biggest question. To shield the slab on grade with a facade, for lack of a better word. Right.
So I guess my question again is landscaping or plantings. If you have landscaping or plantings in front of this portion of the window, like bushes or shrubs would sort of hide.
Okay.
To me, it would hide how flat it is.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Come back with, again, in front of the little walkway out the driveway, if you do your bricks.
Some landscaping either in it or in front of it.
Them brooks.
Would you rather just have?
Ah,
Rather just require more mature landscaping?
I don't know how else to fix this.
There's
to
no
me,
other way,
it's-
there's no
it's-
way to fix.
It's, you, the landscaping, it becomes more mature, like you say, will hide how low it is to the ground. Because you can't
that's it. You can't-
create
that's
something
right.
that's not there, but the landscaping or more mature landscaping would sort of help
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that,
more with the rest of the neighborhood or hide what's wrong and why it doesn't match with everything else.
I
But-
like that idea of the shrubs, mature shrubs, rather than putting a brick wall up there.
On the-
Yeah, on that. where
On the front side of the
Yes,
wall.
Yeah, I really do.
well, I agree. I think that's perfectly fine. So that means we would suggest more mature shrubs in front of the windows, and then the knee wall between the columns as staff has suggested.
And it would fit with the neighborhood.
Yeah. Sure. And that would address what item, that was number 3, I think. Yep. And then the other question to me is about the overhang depth. The applicant has suggested it's currently 15 inches deep. It was supposed to be 18, and the applicant has suggested that the gutter adds the illusion of the extra depth.
So it cannot be fixed to 18?
I mean, I think it can. It's going to be expensive, but scab on some rafters and extend your fascia out.
You not just put a board, cut a piece of millwork that would then just be
Tacked on.
tacked on, painted, and then the gutter then attached to it?
Yeah, like build a box out with an angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I think that'd work.
L shape.
Not if they continue at the same slope.
I was thinking the same slope.
Yeah. I guess it would pinch it a little bit.
It'd be a lot,
Yeah, it'd come to a point. That's true. But it looks like there's a little room to bring it down some. I guess your point, Mario, is Commissioner Walker, would it look worse than the fix look worse than what it is?
A little bit like lipstick on a pig. You gotta figure it out. I hope you're taking this out of the contractor's pocket.
Oh, yes.
Is your office on Flickr, at the
Yes,
end
it
of
is.
Flickr? Okay. I like the landscaping idea with the knee wall that Natasha brought up. And, I'm so on the extension. It could look worse.
Yeah.
And continuing the roof line and the shingles, it may not work. So I'm fine with just a knee wall. You're saying a knee wall in the same brick with landscaping in front of that knee wall.
Well, I mean, you have a little
Just
bed
landscape.
there. You have the flower bed. So it would sort of, to me, I'm talking about the knee wall where the L shape coming off the driveway in
Correct.
front of that. The more mature, but that creates the mature landscaping under this window to my left. And then you have an additional bed or flower bed, which you could put mature landscaping. It's going to draw your eyes to the landscaping versus
I agree with you. You
looking
can do
at
a
the
lot of
house.
landscaping.
The knee wall, whether 2, 3 rows, whatever, it's, however you want to do it, and that's fine. But is this just for the 1841 Waverly, or are we also addressing the other 2?
This would be all-
That's what, okay, so are all 3 going to be similar or different? Looking at the pictures individually, that's what I'm asking.
They're all the same plan, only one of them is reversed.
Right.
So we do the same thing for each one.
Question. So the addresses there, you are planning to build again? Do they have, do the staff have them?
Yeah, it's already through everything.
Yeah, I would encourage your contractor to read the plans,
I agree. Yes.
all the plans.
Yes, I was a little shocked that it wasn't.
Foundational, if you'll forgive my pun.
Yes, definitely.
All right, somebody make the motion for, what, I think we're all in agreement. Why don't somebody make the motion?
I want to clarify something though, because staff has proposed the knee wall to go between the columns, but I think Natasha's proposal is to push the knee wall out beyond the walk.
More planter.
Yeah, to be almost like
I
a
didn't
plant.
call it a knee, well, let me see, I did call, the 2 or 3 rows.
Commissioner
You
Schwartz.
consider that a knee wall? Because to me, what they were saying was sort of like, I call them railings, which to me are they more like the railings
Well,
in between the
I
brick
think what
columns?
we were suggesting is a solid brick wall between the 2 columns. Now, the landscape wall could work as well. It would just need to be high enough. What we're trying to accomplish is to hide that the door is sitting at the ground. So you could do a combination of both. I guess, our concern is, if we were relying on landscaping, that's a temporary solution that can be easily removed. It's definitely something that could help. But I think what can we condition today that we can make sure is there and not, at some point, not doing what we're asking it to do. And so I think we have a combination of those things. And so there are, a few options there. If you wanted the knee wall, I guess if it is, only 2 or 3, if it's not, at least 18, and even with 18, you may still see over it to the bottom of the door, I guess, because if it's at the porch where the 2 columns are, I think, any visual, you're not going to see that angle where the door meets the slab.
Right.
So,
Well, like I said, it could be a combination. It could be both.
right. Correct, yes.
Because I was thinking you do that.
Right. And I was thinking that was what Natasha was saying as well. So if you did the knee wall between the 2 columns, and then you did a short landscape wall to the left of this picture in front of the windows, and that would encourage landscaping to be, continued into the future as well. So you could do that. That would be a good combination. And you would remove the walk and just come in as a side entry into the porch.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll make a motion to add a brick knee wall between the columns that matches the height of the existing brick base, and then add an additional, are we saying a low planter wall that extends from the driveway to, is it just the porch or all the way to the side of the house?
To that base, where that column, that base is, where it makes the L shape to the base.
Is she saying L shape though?
She's talking about the wall.
Oh, the L-shaped sidewalk. Okay. So the knee wall with a low planter wall in front of that, just in front of the porch.
Or I was thinking that the planter wall was going to be to the left of the porch,
That's what I thought originally too.
in front of those windows.
Yeah. So it extends all the way to the windows.
Right.
That's what I would suggest as well. So that the planter would be L-shaped around the porch all the way back to the face of that window. Yeah. And then the mature landscaping will be placed in those planters as well.
Yeah.
And it would remain unpainted. The brick would remain unpainted.
Yes, of course, brick would remain unpainted. And I guess the brick would match what's already been installed. I think we're also saying we don't have any objection to item number 5 about the overhangs. They remain unchanged. And then what about the fences? There was also a discussion about the fences. Do we let those, staff suggested that they be adjusted back to the conditions of the original application.
The porch overhangs, if they were to be corrected, what would that entail, or how would they go about correcting that?
I'm sorry, say
The
that one more
porch overhangs, if that was to be corrected to where it's 18 inches, how would they go about correcting that?
Well, we were talking through that. They could tack on some kind of box, but our concern is that it would become too sharp of an angle without having to go back and redo the whole roof. So I think there is a way to do it, but the fix may look worse than what's there.
So in order to do it, they would have to redo the whole roof to do it right.
Yes. In order to do it right, they would need to redo the whole roof. Yeah, that's a good point. So right now, the motion would be to, number 5 is just, it would remain unchanged. And then the fences would go back to the conditions of the staff report.
Yeah, the fences would, if they're not meeting the design guidelines, our condition was that they would meet the design guidelines. So we don't know exactly all the conditions, but does the applicant agree that if the fences in some way don't meet the design guidelines, that they would be adjusted to do that? I think in the pictures, it looks like that they probably meet most of those, if not all of them.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, yeah.
Okay, for reference for the fences, number 10 here is the condition that I added last month for the approval. So maximum 6 feet in height, installed with beauty side facing out, all sections of the fences that run parallel to the front walls to be located minimum 6 feet setback from the front wall of the structure. So the fence height 6 feet, and they need to be pushed back 6 feet from the front wall of the house to the back.
Gotcha. The fences are 6 feet, so I think the only thing we would need to do is just move it back, which is, we could definitely do that. Let's see, move it 6 feet back.
Yeah. Can we see the picture? Sorry. The other two houses.
Okay. Oops, where did it go? I'm sorry. So this one was 1841 Waverly. This one is 1637 Netherwood. And this is 1601 Foster. These photos show the current status of the structures after the middle columns were removed, like the applicant suggested.
Which, just to be clear, that's not mature landscaping, so that would have to be updated.
Yes, yeah, so that's one of the, you said you want the knee wall and then the landscaping. Would the landscaping just be on that left underneath the window? Is that the main section you wanted?
And in front of the porch, it would be in both.
Okay. I think I need a detail just to visualize it. I guess I can get that from the staff then, a detail.
Yeah, effectively, what the suggestion is to add the knee wall between the columns and then add a planter. It's an L-shaped planter in front of the porch that wraps around that window.
Okay, so that the column-to-column one would not touch each column?
It would.
It would touch each column?
Yes.
Okay, so we'd be removing that L-shaped walkway, correct? Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
Entering from the side.
Yeah, we'd be entering between the house and the column.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. I'd still like to see it just so I can give it to my guy and make sure he reads the plans.
I sketched a very rudimentary version of it.
So you're saying removing the L-shaped walkway? Because that's what draws attention to it being so flat?
Yeah, and it just gives space for them to do that planter to screen everything.
Mm-hmm. And that's sort of where I was speaking of, where you could do your little bricks to hide that, where the walkway would be behind the bricks, but you all suggest removing it. Yeah. I hear you, yeah.
Yeah, I think the main goal, staff made a good point about, is that knee wall between the columns is really important to hide
Right.
that the door is on the ground. And if we move it out, it might be more visible.
Do you want the column-to-column knee wall to match those walls, and I think it's 20 inches right now where the current brick is at.
Yes.
Okay, and the planter, did you want it, you wanted it L-shaped, and then did you have a detail on how high you wanted the planter as well? Or how wide as well?
What do y'all think? A foot? Is what Marcus? Yeah.
Foot wide, same height?
Well, a foot high,
Oh, foot high, okay.
and then depth, whatever's appropriate for at least a row of landscaping.
You mean the width of the wall or?
The width of the planter in front of the knee wall.
Yeah.
3 to 4 feet, yeah, makes sense. And that would stay consistent back to the window.
Yeah, 3 feet. Yeah.
3 to 4 feet wide, okay. And that would match the whole knee wall from column to column?
Yeah.
Correct.
Say that again.
It would match so here's the column, you'd have the knee wall, and then right in front of it would be the planter that runs parallel with the column knee wall.
Correct, but the planter extends past the porch to the window, all the way to the side of the house.
Oh, it's gonna L down and then go
Yes.
back? Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
it comes in zigzags, gotcha.
Right, so there would be, hopefully a row of bushes in front of the knee wall at the porch, but then in front of that window would be more substantial planting because you have more room.
Got it, okay, that makes sense.
Good with that?
You ready to make a very complicated motion? Was that the motion?
Yeah, I think we've got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
All right. And we can vote on all these together. And so we got a motion and a second. So y'all have any other discussion?
Any other discussion? Do we all approve? Can I hear an aye?
Aye.
All right.
All right. Great.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you stepping in and dealing with this. These were really like atrocities, and I think you obviously you recognize that, and this was not the intended, end result of these 3 homes.